So I have another beautiful client, Marilyn, with me today to do a success story. Thank you for being with me, Marilyn.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
So let's first start off with, how did you find me and what prompted you to reach out for support?
Well, I had been struggling with lots of symptoms, bloating, stomach pain for years. And I went to so many doctors, and everybody just kept telling me it was like I should take acid reflux medicine. And I was listening to your podcast, and you took questions, and I had gotten some food testing done, and there was just like almost every food on the list was coming up that I was sensitive, and I really didn't know what to eat. And so I asked, what do you do if you have multiple food sensitivities? And I would listen every weekend to your podcast, and I woke up, I was still laying in bed, and I hear you answered my question, like the first question on the podcast. And I thought, well, I have to reach out to her because I think because she can help me. Like you said something like if you have multiple food sensitivities, you need support because it's hard to navigate what to eat. So that's what, there was just like some connection over the phone, over the podcast that I felt with you.
So you reached out, we start working together. Tell me a little bit about your history with binge eating, because we knew that there was gut issues, and then we discovered that there was this deeper emotional self-sabotage going on.
Yeah. I would like eat lots of I would eat sweets, and then I would eat them until my stomach hurt. Or I would eat, maybe I'd eat a whole pack of something, or I'd eat almost the whole pack and I'd throw the rest away. Um, and I didn't really connect it to the bigger picture of the problems with my digestion and my stomach pain. Um, and I didn't connect it to emotional stuff either. I just thought I liked it, and but I realized after working with you, I like it was there was no control. I didn't was losing control, and it was really about something else, either stress or feeling tired or anxiety. So you helped me sort of connect that. And one thing I learned from you was, because sometimes there's still the maybe inclination to do it, but I know I pause. Like the pause is really important. Um, and I try and ask myself what else I might need in the moment. I walk away because I know I could always come back. Um, so you've given me a lot of strategies and tools. You have your 7 questions that you ask, and so it's much better. I really can't remember the last time I did that. So it's so helpful, and I pay much more attention to my hunger, feelings of hunger and feelings of fullness, because I learned about we learn about the hormones that cause the hunger. And so I pay attention to my body in a much bigger way than I did before I started working with you.
And how does it feel to be free of that self-sabotage with food and have tools if a thought comes up to help navigate through it?
It feels great. It feels really good. I don't feel like I'm floundering and like, how do you handle this? And like you could read all this stuff on the internet and read all, if you even still, I have some of the books, but there's just, you hear so much coming at you about how to handle it. It's just really nice to work with someone and get some really concrete stuff, and then you can go back and talk about it. And so, yeah, it's really helpful.
And
So the
it's
tools are
nice.
great.
And it's nice too to have someone, so when you feel like you failed, you've given in, right? You get to be picked back up, dusted off. We get to talk
Yeah,
about why you
for
learn
sure.
more.
Yeah. I remember at the beginning, I'd be like, I don't know if I don't want to tell you, but and I remember you saying to me, well, how you think I'd have many clients if I got mad at them when they told me I'm here to support you. So yeah.
Yeah. That was such a transformation to watch you heal your relationship with food, and you learned a lot from that. And
Mhm.
as we started working on clearing out the binge eating, tell us how your digestion improved.
Oh, it's much better. Like I would go to bed every night, just every night with the heating pad on my stomach because it would just be so uncomfortable. And sometimes now still I get in bed and I think to myself, wow, yeah, because I don't feel like that when I go to sleep at night. And um I think, I had headaches and those, those are something I still struggle with sometimes, but they're definitely better. And I just think in general my health has improved. So yeah.
Yeah, and I remember when we saw that food sensitivity test with everything but two or three things in the red, right? And I think you were
Yeah.
told you'd need to go on immunosuppressing medication.
Hmm.
And then a year later, we did a retest after really working on your gut and your hormones, right? And I
Hmm.
think there was only a handful of things that lit up. Everything else was back to
Yeah,
normal,
yeah. I
and
was
you
like,
didn't need the
well,
medication.
yeah, yeah, it was much better.
How
So it
did
was, I
that
think
feel?
it felt good. I still try to avoid like gluten and dairy, but I have them occasionally.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I,
Yeah.
I find that I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. And that again, it was just about finding the root issues
mhm,
and
mhm,
dealing with those.
yeah.
How has this support helped you emotionally with body and self-love, working on your mindset?
That's been probably apart from just feeling a lot, better, just like the biggest thing. The self-love is so important. I don't think I'd ever even heard some of those terms. And just in my life in general, like the tools that you've taught me, I can take out into my life. And, I know now that like I'm worthy. That's like not a word I'd heard either. Worthy to have good health and be in my power. And I really think I wasn't. You came through a really rough few years with me where I lost my power because I do think I had it at one point. And I gained it back and even in a much bigger and better way. And there's been a whole like spiritual growth that's come along with this too. And a much bigger trust in my intuition. So
And how does that feel?
it feels wonderful. It's just really empowering and yeah, it makes me like make me a little teary. Yeah, like it's just so helpful. Everybody should feel like that. So it's been great. I don't think I would have found it on my own. I just was sort of an unexpected side benefit, but more than a side benefit of this whole thing. Because when I went into it, that's not what I thought it was going to be. I thought we were just going to talk about food, but that's not it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing. And it's this, we start the journey and it unfolds and goes in the direction it's supposed to, right?
Hmm.
With
Yeah.
no force. And then these parts just pop up. And I'm
Yes.
so glad that you found these parts of you because they are life changing to
Yeah.
feel, aren't they?
Mhm. For sure.
Yeah. What were some of your favorite tools and things that we got into?
Oh, well, the tapping. I had heard about it, but I did not really know what it was. And I think I had maybe done a little bit of meditation before, but I got much more into that. And the journaling took a while to stick. I still do it every night, but I enjoy it way more than I did. I would sometimes open the book and like, what do I write? So I think those three are my favorites. But another big thing I learned about was movement that feels good.
Mm.
Because I was beating myself up with exercise. And I am someone who has always enjoyed exercise, but it was always the harder, the sweatier, the better. And there was a period of time where I would wake up at 5:30 in the morning to do it, and I think that was to my detriment. So I have explored other more, maybe not as intense, but more mindful types of movement, and I love Pilates, and
Mm.
um, so that's been really helpful too. And I don't feel bad if I have a day where I don't exercise. I mean, I'm walking is one of my favorites. So I actually prefer now when I work out to not be drenched in sweat when I'm done. It just, it feels invigorating as opposed to depleting. And I remember when you told me when my cortisol was really low that I was a swimmer at that point. That you, if you can, okay, if you want to swim a little, you can swim for 25 minutes. I was swimming for an hour. And you really didn't want me to exercise at all, but that was really hard for me then. But now, if I have a day where I'm not feeling my best, it's like, well, what do I need? Do I need to exercise, or do I need to take a nap, or do I need to read a book? So that's been huge.
Yeah, and that clarity, because sometimes to help heal parts of our bodies, slowing down or minimizing certain things like intensive exercise is integral to help us change it. Otherwise, you'll be
Yeah.
fighting with that level for the rest of your life. So I'm glad that you're open, and it's good because now mindful movement and you have a healthy relationship with exercise, which is
Hmm.
what we want for everybody,
Hmm.
right? Because
Hmm.
maybe it stays the same, maybe the preference changes though. So I'm glad you have that clarity and you found what works
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah. Hmm.
So how has this support impacted your life and your quality of life?
Um, well, it's made me much more, I learned about being present and trying to find joy and all the stuff that you hear about that maybe sound cliche, but it's real. Um, and it's, I think that's like one of the main things is I really try. That's, if you're gonna like pay attention to how you feel, then you're paying attention. So I learned to pay attention to my life and think about in a broader way what's going to make me happy, and having the support, to you to talk to is just helped me reach that point. So yeah.
Yeah, so life changing.
Yeah.
Why would you suggest this support to someone else?
Well, um if you're someone who's been struggling with any of these things, support in general is just so good. I think we like hesitate to ask for help, as people. We do that a lot. And um I've had a support group for something else that I found immensely helpful. And I think just talking to people who've been through what you've been through, it's so validating and so helpful, and you feel so understood. And not everybody can support you with everything. So to find the right support for whatever it is, and in this case, you know, health and well-being and body, mind, spirit. Um, if you're struggling with that, Amber, you're so helpful with it all. And you might not even know that you're struggling with all of it. But then once you start to work on some of it, it all opens up and it all starts to get fixed.
Yeah.
So, people should not hesitate to ask for support, because we're here for each other. We're here to help each other. So, and this is your gift. So people shouldn't hesitate to take advantage of your gift and get that help from you.
Thank you. That's very sweet of you to say. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
um, well, I just want to share that I've been working, we just talked about this with you since November of 2016. So we've gotten to know each other pretty well. And I'm going to miss working with you. But somebody may start on this journey and think I'm going to do this in 3 months, and it takes time. So that's the thing I want to share is it takes time to be patient with yourself and the journey, and not have a limited view of how it's going to go. Like just open yourself up to it and let it proceed as it may.
I love that. I couldn't agree with you more on the time piece. Everyone's journey takes a different period of time. I have
Mhm.
one more question that I want to ask you, and then we will wrap this up. You've just been so sweet with your sharing. Um, how did it feel like coming into the space? Because when we're dealing with physical symptoms, we're dealing with self-sabotage with food, feeling insecure. Like, I feel like one of the reasons we hesitate to ask for help is because there's guilt, there's shame, we fear maybe being judged. If we've had poor experiences before, it's like, how's this person going to be with me? But how did you find like the dynamic and like the space? Like, how did it feel for you, you know, to be able to be so open and share and be fully supported and never pushed?
Uh-huh. It was, it felt very safe, and I trusted that like I would be accepted no matter what I said, or how I felt, or you know how things went. It felt very just calm and great. I mean I think I remember one time I think it's the only time I ever forgot. But you called me on my phone. We were FaceTiming at that point, and something was going on, and I started to cry, and it was almost like it was meant to be like that, because talking to you during that was so helpful. You said, like, just it's okay, and you know, and so it it's just a very open, accepting space. I can't think of anything like someone could say that would phase you or make you mad or probably surprise, not even surprise you. So yeah, it's a very beautiful space.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for
Thank
taking the
you.
time today and sharing. I appreciate you so much. And it's been a
Thank
pleasure to be
you.
on the journey with you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too.